All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy FIGHTIN, and in this video, we're going to talk about Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s response to Gervonta Davis and critics of his exhibition fight coming up in on May 14th. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy FIGHTIN. In this video, we're going to talk about Floyd Mayweather Jr. He responds to critics, including Gervonta Tank Davis, about the fact that he is going to be having an exhibition fight coming up on May 14th against a former sparring partner. But before we get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. Thank you so much. If you're a regular subscriber, thank you for supporting the channel. Also, thank everybody so much if you would not mind, if you're not a subscriber, tongue twisted there, to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, if you wager on boxing or other sports, take advantage of our partnership that we have with BUSR at busr.ag/FIGHTIN. And we will be, after the Errol Spence Jr. versus Yordenis Ugas fight, giving away $1,000 to someone that is signed up underneath that promotional code FIGHTIN. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. So, all right, let's get to this. Floyd Mayweather Jr. It came out and was working out, sparring, and interviewed, and gave a response to the reaction that people had to him fighting. Gosh, man, I'm forgetting the guy's name right now. I'm just going to call him a former sparring partner. And in Dubai on May 14th. And pretty much what he said was, and honestly, man, to me, like, there's two issues here. But first, this is what he said was like, look, in a nutshell, what he said was, I have the ability to make money, to be able to make $20-30 million doing this, and not a lot of people can. So I'm going to do that. And if I can do it, hey, that's meant to be. And, you know, nobody complains when guys like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and these other guys make money into their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s, right? Now, on the face of that, dog, no worries about that, man. If you can get paid a ton of money for an exhibition, for fighting an exhibition fight on a helicopter pad over there in Dubai, no worries, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, if somebody's going to pay you that type of money to do that, hey, I wouldn't have any problem doing that if somebody wanted to pay me that type of money, or if other fighters could get that type of money to do that. Many of them may do that. The question, however, though, for Floyd Mayweather Jr., at least from my end, is like, okay, if that's what you're going to do, then do that. But if you have an other commitment that you have, like promoting Gervonta Tank Davis, promoting Richardson Hitchens, promoting the people that signed to Mayweather Promotion, and using and having your focus be on keeping the commitments that you made as a promoter to the fighters that you have signed to you and are relying upon you in order to help sell and grow their careers, then you have to balance the responsibilities you have with yourself and being able to go out there and make all that money versus being a full-time promoter whose job it is to promote the fighters who are with your promotional outfit, right? So if Floyd Mayweather Jr. was just being Floyd Mayweather Jr., and he's going to do that, only thing that I would say as a boxing fan is, I'm not paying for that, right? If you are going to send me and say, hey, send me some promotional material and say, we've got Floyd Mayweather Jr. fighting his sparring partner, and I want you to pay $60 or $50 or $25 for the pay-per-view, I will vote, I will vote with my wallet, which is, no, I'm not paying for that. But the reason I'm not paying for it isn't that I don't believe that Floyd Mayweather Jr. should have the right to go out and make a lot of money. The reason I'm not going to pay for it is because I don't think it's worth my money, right? And it's that easy. And also, if somebody asks boxing fans, as a boxing fan, and says, what do you think about the fight with Floyd? I think about it from the perspective of a boxing fan, and somebody that wants to see the sport of boxing grow. What Floyd Mayweather Jr. can do for Floyd Mayweather Jr. is what Floyd Mayweather Jr. does for Floyd Mayweather Jr. It's not necessarily making the sport of boxing grow. It's not helping other fighters, helping boxing fans get better fights that they want to see, right? We've got all kind of stuff, all kind of what do you call it? Boxing being dispersed, right? We have 4 championship belts, right? So it's very difficult to get. It's like a special exception nowadays for there to be actually one champion in a weight division. And you got to go through all kind of political stuff to get it done, you know, related to the promoters, related to the networks, right? Related to the fighters themselves. Then when they do that, there's a lot of extra costs added to it because you have to pay they have to pay sanctioning fees to multiple divisions, you know, to multiple sanctioning bodies. So there's all those things that really do prevent boxing fans from getting what boxing fans want to do, really want to get, which is the best fighting the best in boxing and being able to see the best fighters fight the best fighters. And when you have, attention being taken away from that, whether it is by the mainstream media, whether it is by just fans that are still holding on and consistently supporting Floyd in his fights, right? If Floyd wasn't fighting, then if they were going to continue to be boxing fans, they may tune in and turn their eye to a young champion that's on the come up, like a Jaron Ennis or an established guy like Terrence Crawford or somebody like that. They might actually start being able to recognize these guys' names because they are not consistently being inundated by Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s name being promoted as a boxer until he's 60, until he's 50 years old, right? So, I can understand where Floyd is coming from, and Floyd saying, look, man, that's how it's intended. I can do it, so I'm doing it. But that is for Floyd and Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s bank account. I, as a boxing fan, do not care about Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s boxing bank account. Also, fighters like Richardson Hitchens, fighters like Gervonta Tank Davis don't care about Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s bank account getting bigger because, dude, you've already earned $500 million, man. You know what I mean? You've already earned a bunch of $500 million, right? Or whatever amount of money that you've earned. So, you're no longer the fighter where people are hoping that you get your shot, right? And saying, man, I can't wait for Floyd to get that big money fight. He really deserves it, right? Against Oscar De La Hoya or against Arturo Gatti, because that was the scenario when Floyd was coming up, where people would get behind and be like, look, man, really think this dude should be one of the biggest names in boxing. He deserves the opportunity to prove he's the best so that he can get big paydays, right? Once he got to that, then he's got his paydays, he's got his accolades, he's gotten all of that. That for me ended, right? And then now it's about, do I get to see the best boxing matches? Are the best fighters going to be able to get the best fights made because these guys have had significant attention paid to them by the boxing media, by the boxing pundits, right? Are they giving enough focus on these guys so that they can grow fights and we won't have the financial excuses and the encumbrances taking place to get fights made, right? So take, for example, what Leonard Ellerbe had to say about why Gervonta Davis may not be able to fight Devin Haney or Lomachenko or George Kambosos, right? Because the fights aren't big enough. Well, if Mayweather Promotions not putting their full focus on promoting Gervonta Davis to get him big, then there's only so much effort you can do, right? If you're focused on Floyd doing Floyd and Leonard Ellerbe is the one doing Gervonta, that's splitting up a team that otherwise could really do a lot more to grow that fight and give boxing fans the fights that they want to see. Because I am thoroughly convinced that if you polled boxing fans and said, what fight do you really want to see? Do you want to see Floyd Mayweather Jr. fight his sparring partner for $10 million or $20 million? Or do you want to see Gervonta Davis fight Devin Haney? I have a suspicion that the vast majority of boxing fans are going to want to see that fight, right? But how are they both going to be made at the same time when one of the main guys necessary to build Gervonta Davis is more involved in building himself? So, I understand where Floyd's coming from, but as a boxing fan, I'm just not feeling it, But anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.